Welcome to the How Did They Do It Real Estate Podcast. Have you ever wondered how people succeed in real estate and what steps they took to get there? If so, this podcast is for you. Your hosts, Sayla and Eileen Prack, interview top experts in the real estate community to share with you their real estate journey and how they achieved massive success. Our goal is to provide you with valuable real estate resources and to help you apply it to your own real estate goal. Welcome to today's episode of the How Did They Do It Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Eileen Prack, and today our guest is Monika Jazyk. And she is a founder of RPI Education, where they are on a mission to help everyday people invest like the 2%. And together with her husband, they've created a real estate portfolio consisting of buy, rent, hold properties. So Monika, welcome to the show, and how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing some about your journey with us.
I'm excited to be here.
So Monika, give us a little bit of a background about, who you are and how you got started with real estate.
So I am a real estate investment specialist and wealth builder. And I kind of entered into this role after being a real estate investor. So I started off as a real estate investor and then kind of entered into the world after many experiences of trials and tribulations of my husband and I building our own portfolio. We kind of fell into the world of education and consulting. So that's really what I love to do. And that's what RPI education really is all about, because I know how difficult it is to try to build wealth doing things the traditional way, such as trading time for money, saving your money, and investing in low growth products and things that just aren't working and they're not helping people achieve their savings goals. And Vaughan, who's my husband, we were in this rat race trap for many, many years. And real estate investing really helped us break out of it. The problem with that is we had no support when we were starting out as our own real estate investors. There weren't all these real estate investment clubs, groups. There wasn't a lot of information on the internet. This was quite a while ago. And so we were left to our own devices and to navigate the wacky world of real estate investing, and made a lot of mistakes on our way, which I'm actually very grateful for, because that actually has made me, all this hands-on learning and education that we received, a really excellent consultant. So we actually highlighted all these mistakes in our book, Real Estate Mistakes, Our Mistakes, Your Success. And finally, when we ironed out all the kinks and really kind of got the help that we needed and figured out how to do real estate the right way, that is when we created a life of financial freedom for myself and our family, which consists of my husband and our 4 children. And so, yeah, that's my story in a nutshell.
When you say wealth builder, what does that mean? What is a wealth builder?
I really try to encourage people to examine all the different components of wealth. Now, we always say we focus like the top 2%. So we're trying to increase financial literacy in the working, everyday, middle-class people, because we feel there's a wealth gap in society as this sector is really implementing these traditional financial practices, and they are just not making ends meet every month. They're not able to make these savings goals. Well, the top 2% is just thriving. So as a wealth builder and putting ourselves, elevating our wealth from working middle class up to the top 2% or top 1%, whatever you call it, getting to that area where we really understand money and we understand how money works, and we're able to implement various strategies into our financial lives that helps us continue to grow and accelerate our wealth. And so wealth building really comprises of a lot of different components in the financial literacy arena. Now, obviously, as real estate, like I said, we just started out as real estate investors, meaning we were just buying and doing strategies in regards to homes. Real estate is the number one wealth builder. I firmly believe that. I think it's the number one asset class, and it really is how all the top 2% have real estate in their portfolio, because it can help you accelerate your wealth very, very quickly. It takes time. Like, it's not a get rich quick, but it can help you meet those goals, such as income replacement, retirement, help fund kids' education, and those types of long-term savings goals more than the traditional vehicles can, for sure. But there's so much more to it. So after you get into your real estate, you have to learn how to structure yourself properly. You have to learn how mortgages work, how to leverage, how to continue to buy assets to pay for your liabilities, and how to structure them into a wealth plan, or otherwise known as an estate plan, so you can preserve your wealth and also pass it on to subsequent generations. So that's really all the different components that we aim to educate people on. We actually have 7 keys to wealth that we focus on in our wealth immersion program. And we really break them down into layman's terms. So everyday people can just start adjusting their thinking and having access to experts to help them implement these practices into their daily lives. Because the top 2% lifestyle is not reserved for the top 2%. Everyday people can take part of all of these actions that the top 2% are doing. And as a result, they can exponentially turn their whole financial situation around. It's really, really exciting.
So within real estate, when you talk about it's the best wealth building vehicle, your primary focus, is it the buy, rent, and hold properties, or do you also do other things within real estate as well? Or is that primarily what you're focused on?
What Vaughan and I do as real estate investment specialists is we focus on different investment strategies in high growth areas, identify areas that are a good time to invest in, and align them with a particular strategy. So, for example, right now there's a slight drop in the market. We're picking up properties for below fair market value price in pretty dominant markets, like right in Toronto, in the GTA, areas where we live that are quite expensive normally. We're finding these deals and we're actually just acquiring them and holding them, cash flow neutral position, and buying them about $300,000-$400,000 below fair market value. You make money when you buy in real estate. So that's an example of things that we would suggest people do in regards to just the standard buy, rent, hold. But we also actively, my favorite strategy in real estate is the BRRRR strategy, where we take a home and we convert it into 2 to 4 units. So then we're able to maximize the value of that home, refinance that home, and pull a large sum of that money out to pay back either the down payment or the construction costs, ideally both, and then can repeat that strategy. And that allows us to stay in these high growth areas, but we still, because we have the construction component, we have that forced appreciation, we're adding value. Now that's a little bit tricky to do right now because we're in an interest rate adjustment period and appraisals are coming in low. So it still can be done. You just have to acquire it at a very, very low price and be able to account for these types of margins. So we're kind of on the fence with that right now. And the same with flipping homes. We also flip homes. We're flipping a house right now. We acquired it for $775,000. Once again, it was $300,000 below fair market value. And in 12 weeks, we flip it for $1.4 million. And this is done in all our markets. We're not just in Canada. We're across Canada, the US, and Australia. We identify high growth markets and figure out what kind of strategy would work in that market. One of our US projects actually that we're doing right now is we're building 27 homes in Florida. Thank God they're away from the hurricane. And we're doing 27 pre-construction flips right now where we partner with a builder. We have these homes being built and permits are finally approved. Concrete slabs are being laid. These gorgeous little Floridian homes are being built. And we are going to sell these and provide housing in an area that has a huge need for housing and make some money that way. So a lot of people are really excited about that project as well.
When you say you identify high growth areas, what are some of the different things that you evaluate to identify where are the high growth areas that you want to focus on within real estate?
Oh, I like that question. That's a great question. I really actually, to tell you the truth, when we started out, the reason I'm so passionate about high growth areas, and you'll hear me saying it a lot, is one common mistake investors make is they chase cheap properties. And I'm guilty as charged for doing that. When we started out, I actually started out buying $40,000 homes and renting them out for $1,000 a month. And that's how we built a little empire. And it's good until it's not. So it served me very well for a period of time until the whole market changed. And now I'm stuck with 100 homes that no one wants. And the vacancies, like, they're all vacant. It could be a disaster and they're really hard to sell. So I'm so passionate about high growth areas. And when I focus on high growth areas, they're very, very obvious high growth areas. And a lot of people think these areas are not achievable because they're so high growth. They're expensive. I'm not even looking at tertiary markets anymore. I only look at prime A-class markets. Like, we're investing right in LA. Like, that would be an example of a market, LA. You can find properties and real estate investment properties right in LA. We're investing in Atlanta. We're investing in Texas. So we're investing in Florida, and we're right in these major city areas. We're not in like Tecumseh or something in some bumpkin town that no one knows where it is, where you can buy homes for $20,000. We could be buying, $2 million assets in LA, but the ROI is going to be between 30 and 48%. So there still is money to be made in these areas. So we're looking for where people want to live. People always have wanted to live, and areas that people almost think are unachievable, because there is growth in these pockets. In real estate, there's pockets in pockets. There's no need to try to go out and identify the next town or the next high growth, area. A lot of people do this and they speculate. If you're near to the major city centers, if it's a diverse economy, if there's a lot of jobs that need workers and that are hiring people, and that has great schools and people want to live there, these are the areas that we want to get all of our properties in, because they're not going to become ghost towns. And our clients, which are our tenants, we want to be able to give them a great place to live.
So when you're looking at for investments, are you primarily focused on like the appreciation side of things in these high growth markets, cash flow, or some type of combination of both?
The BRRRR allows me to buy properties in these areas for below fair market value. We have to acquire them at, and then to add the value to the property through the construction or some sort of forced appreciation. So then we're able to refinance that product. So we're always looking to do value adds. So for example, I've just acquired a condo, and I don't normally do condos, but I acquired a condo. This is a smaller example, right in downtown Toronto. Now, downtown Toronto is very, very expensive, but there's a temporary lull in the Toronto housing market right now, in the condo market. And normally the condos there are $800,000, $900,000. I managed to find one with a distressed buyer, because everyone's so scared with the prices going down, for $450,000. And with a little bit of paint on the walls and just get our contractors in there and repair that, we can turn that back into even a $600,000 to refinance at $600,000. It's conservative because appraisals are coming in low, but the real after repair value would be more in the $800,000 range, because Toronto is where everyone really wants to live. Plus we can command really high rents. So I'm really kind of looking primarily for how can I create the way I always look at properties. And when I buy properties, I think everyone should kind of look at it this way in real estate, take a less is more approach. And if you're as ambitious as I am, you might ask yourself, how could I buy 10 properties? How could I create a $20 million portfolio in 15 years, 20 years with just 10 properties? And I think $20 million is a pretty good number. I'm sure you'd agree.
Yeah, of course.
That'll help us.
It's a fantastic number.
I think it's a very ambitious number, but it can be easily achieved. Mm-hmm. And with just 10 properties. And so when people are looking at these properties, they don't want to have cash drain properties. You definitely want to have cash flow properties. But if you're leveraging yourself the way that we show you in the Wealth Immersion program as well, you have no money in these properties either. You're able to have 100% borrowed money. So sometimes, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth. You have 100% borrowed money and you're in an area that you know is a sure thing, that you bought this way below fair market value. you're guaranteeing that it's going to appreciate over the next few years because it already has. That equity is already in there. And if it's in a high growth market, you're also preparing for possible dips in the market because these are very uncertain times. But that should be your main criteria there is this property eventually going to be a $1 million, a $2 million property? How is this property going to be part of my overall wealth plan? So cash flow is important for sure. But sometimes where you get your big bucks in real estate investing is from the refinancing. And it's from pulling that money back out. Now we're not looking at $300-400 a month. We're looking at pulling out $250,000 every 4 years. And if you have enough properties and if you're staggering that, that's where you really create that income replacement for yourself.
Got it. So what are some of the strategies that you utilize and you share with, your students as well to find these properties that are below market areas in these high demand markets?
Oh, we cover that in our one-on-one bundle for sure. This is and it's really simple stuff. I mean, people go out and they take these wholesale courses and they take this. You don't need that. You just need to learn how to find great deals. And the way that you're able to find great deals is, first of all, finding your focus. So there's so much shiny penny syndrome in the real estate investing world. People are trying to do multiple strategies in multiple areas. And in our picky investor presentation, or how to build your real estate model, we show you really how to pick an area. You need to pick a price point. You need to pick a return, and then you pick a strategy. And you just do that one thing over and over and over again. And if that allows you to build your real estate investment business around your life, or if you're more of a passive investor, you know exactly what you're looking for. You have the professionals looking for you. Well, you go and live your life, then you're guaranteed to really reach your goal a lot faster than being consistently distracted. So if you become an expert in your area, you really should only focus on that one area. And every day we do have this catchphrase we always say called train your brain, which really shows people how to go in and do their property searches every single day and familiarize themselves with an area, visit the area. If it's not located close to you, get in there and walk the entire area on Google Maps or work with your real estate specialist who's located in that area. But every day you need to do your real estate search. You need to be familiar with every single property in that area after you pick what area you're focusing on. And that's all you look for. And you also have to be pre-qualified for these properties too, or have that funding available to act. Because what happens, Eileen, is one day you're just looking every day. When that property sticks out like a sore thumb at that price, you could just act like that and you're in before anyone else. So I think that really is the key to become an expert. It's like that book Outliers. If the more hours that you put in, the more you're going to become an expert. So the more hours you put into being an expert in your area, you should know every single price of every single listing available on that street. And you do those searches daily. It's almost etched in your brain that you are able to make comparisons and comparables like in your sleep. It really is a powerful, powerful place to be in because you could spot opportunities when others can't. And in real estate investing, it's a lot of looking. And we always say the 100-10-1. You can look at 100 properties to tie up 10 and you'll close on one. And people have to just become focused and experts in exactly what they're looking for. So they're able to tie up these properties quickly and then also be able to act quickly.
And how do you also balance it out and prepare for potential downturns, especially in the market? We talked about the interest rates rising up. Things are kind of volatile in the real estate place at this time. How do you prepare yourself for potential downturns later in the market?
I'm very, very conservative. And that's another thing in that one-on-one bundle, know your numbers. You have to know your numbers in real estate investing. If you don't know your numbers inside out in real estate investing and you don't know how to implement contingencies and be really, really conservative, then just invest with a partner who does. And the numbers in real estate investing are really, really easy if it's done, if you're explained to them properly. So I think in the financial world, people kind of talk in these acronyms and over people's heads and they can't figure it out. But if you're able to really master your numbers and know what it costs in order to get to calculate your ROI, then you can start adding on these really particular contingencies for them. So for example, we're flipping a house right now. And there's a lot of question marks behind the market. The market could change any day. It can, fortunately, you have more control over real estate than you do the stock market, which can change overnight and you wake up and everything's gone the next day. So real estate's a lot more forgiving than that. But if you don't plan for things going wrong and you can't ride out the storm, you're going to get in deep, deep doo-doo. So one example will be if you're flipping a house right now, be prepared to hold your property for at least a year. And you could do that by having your joint ventures or yourself, if you're funding it yourself, having a contingency fund to pay for all your mortgage payments and everything for over a year. You should also count on your project sitting still for a year. So yes, we're going in an intention to have this property churned in 12 weeks. And so far we're on, touch wood, we're on the right time frame. But in reality, like we saw what happened with COVID, all of a sudden workers could not work. Job sites were sitting still. People couldn't get supplies. The inventory price went up. So you have to really account for that in your budget. So contingency funds of having your project do nothing for 1 year is a must.
Is there a rule of thumb that you typically look for contingencies and what you should allocate into that fund?
Well, generally speaking, for our general contingency fund, really for everyday investing, is make sure you put, set aside 5% for maintenance. You do 3% to 5% for vacancies, and then 10% for property management, even if you're not using. So that's your general buy, rent, hold rule of thumb. For flipping homes, whatever your flipping budget is, I used to always say, add on an extra $25,000 to $50,000 onto that budget just in case. Okay. So that's your just in case money. And that's what it used to be. Now I'd be closer to $100,000. Because if prices double all of a sudden overnight, we see with inflation what's happening. It's really, really scary. Or if they can shut us down like they did before and we're sitting still and we have to pay people double the cost, you want to have that money there for your in your budget in order to be able to pay to finish those types of projects. Now, another huge thing too, which is why it's so scary to buy homes these days, because we don't know how low this housing market is going to go, which is why we always focus in high growth areas, because real estate operates in cycles, right? So every 7 years, there's a cycle. So basically right now where we are is everything is kind of dropping. So if it goes up like that, like a roller coaster, we're sort of here on the bottom of the cycle and we're getting to buy when things are low. So when it starts going up again, that's where we're going to create all of our equity. So any asset that you're buying now, if you're flipping a home and you're planning to sell it quickly, you don't know where you're going to be on the cycle when it comes time to sell that home. And this is what we're going through now. So fortunately, once again, touch wood, our market hasn't dropped too much, but we have increased our range of profitability by a few $100,000, and we're also very forthcoming with our investors who we're doing this project with, telling them, you need to be prepared to buy this home as a hold. Now, what we did for that, this is kind of exciting, is we're only looking for properties when we flip homes that have mortgage helpers, which mean AKA secondary suites. So this house already had a kitchen in the basement. So we are doing it as a single family home with a rec room and a summer kitchen. But because it already has a separate entrance, if we had to end up keeping this property, all we have to do is put up one wall and ta-da, we have a duplex.
Oh, got it.
So it's just these kind of little tricks that you have to just sort of, plans very often, can go astray in real estate investing. So as an investor, it's really important to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. And that's your job, is to really manage these investments.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Monika. So for you, you mentioned that you have 4 kids also. And by getting into real estate and getting into and being involved in everything that you do, how has that impacted your life? How has real estate impacted your life?
It's allowed me to be a stay-at-home mom for over 18 years, which is really exciting because as your kids get older, they need you more, not less. They actually get busier. I think our 18-year-old, that's our oldest, is off to university now. And he kept us busier than anyone all last year. It was funny. And even now we have to keep going, and he keeps coming home and picking him up. And it's been a really exciting time to see your kids progress and finally, leave the nest, which is really exciting. And our other kids who are 16, 12, and 10, it's just so great to be able to be there for them and be family focused. Like first and foremost, Vaughan and I are parents, and we probably spend most of our time parenting. And we wouldn't be able to do that if we had these 9-to-5 jobs. And that's why I started investing in real estate the first place, is so I could recreate income and be a stay-at-home mom. And then Vaughan was working full-time, and we retired him on his 40th birthday.
Wow, that's really a fantastic gift.
Yeah, he marched into his employer and he just quit. And now we've both been doing this I just turned 46 years old. So it's been 6 years, both of us running and doing this full time. And we've been real estate investors investing in real estate for over 13 years. So
I love that. Thank you. And if there was one thing that you know now about real estate that you wish you knew when you first started, what would that be?
I wish I only focused on the high growth areas when we first started. I wish I did a less is more approach and focused on that 10 home strategy. Even one home. Everyone listening to this podcast, I hope you all realize you do not need to be a full-time real estate investor, but you need to have real estate in your portfolio in order to avoid this wealth gap that society is experiencing. And even one property, if you purchase it, $375,000 and you're 40 years old, say, if all you do is pay off that mortgage for 25 years, you don't do anything else. I'm not even counting the income here. Through natural appreciation at 5%, which is a really conservative return, I'm sure you'd agree, that will be valued at $1.25 million. And that's your retirement. If you have two of those, it's $2.5 million. If you tack your house on there, you're a multimillionaire. And I just say this to show everyone how powerful real estate really is. And I was out there chasing deals left, right, and center, north, east, west, south. And I did too much too soon. And I made $1 million in mistakes. I lost 3 years of my life. I spent that time away from my kids. The mistakes made us excellent consultants. I'm really, really proud of that. But I never will ever forgive myself for losing that time with my children, because they were very, very young then, very, very young. They're all only 8 years apart, 4 kids in 8 years. And they were all babies. And so that was tough. But you don't have to do that to build wealth in real estate. And if you have the proper resources and supportive communities, there's no need to do this on your own. And that's why our book is called Real Estate Mistakes. Our mistakes, your success. And it really is to show you, learn from us. You're not in this on your own. We have a end of each chapter. It's hindsight 2020. And it really just shows people what not to do. So if we can help one person and save the hardships that we went through, then that's it. And just, you don't have to do a lot to get results.
And Monika, if there's one thing that sets the successful people apart in real estate, what would that be?
I think it's people who are living their life on their terms and their freedom. And it all comes down to time, money, freedom. What do your wealth builders do? Are they living the life that you want to live? Do they have families and healthy relationships? Are you looking to do that for yourself? Do you want time with your kids? Are they actually investing? Are they investing in things that you find interesting? And are the morals the same of what they stand for? So I'm all about that time, money, freedom, time with my family, time with my husband, time with myself, but also time with my clients, and really being engaged in people's lives and really trying to be a game changer in the investment community to really fill this wealth gap. That's what my real mission is at RPI Education, is to help 1 million people across the globe in Canada, the US, UK, and Australia, so the developed nations that we understand, and have strong teams in each one of these markets, able to increase the financial literacy of the everyday person so they too can start investing like the top 2%. And that would change 6% of the global wealth population in the developed nations, which would be huge.
I love that. Well, Monika, I so appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing all that with us.
Thank you so much for having me. And like I said, I love doing these podcasts, and thank you for having these platforms for people to listen to and to inspire others.
And Monika, if our listeners also wanted to find out more about what you're doing, grab a copy of your book, where's the best place that they can go?
www.rpieducation.com.
Thank you so much, Monika.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to our podcast today, brought to you by Vaughan Capital. We would really appreciate it if you can go to iTunes right now and leave a rating and written review. Also, please don't forget to subscribe so you can always get the latest episodes. You can also connect with us on Facebook, How Did They Do It Real Estate. We'd love to hear your feedback and any topics that you're interested in for future episodes. Lastly, to learn more about us, you can go to vaughancapital.com and fill out the Contact Us page so you can speak to us directly. Nothing on the show should be considered as specific personal advice. Please consult your legal, tax, and real estate professionals for individualized advice.